Welcome back to the Life in Stride podcast. This is episode 235. On this episode, we had Hoka sponsored professional athlete Ellis Cross on the podcast. Ellis is a UK-based athlete. He's part of Team Makou, which is located in the London, England area. The whole team is sponsored by Hoka. If you are wondering what the name Team Makou means, we learned about it on this episode. It actually has a pretty cool origination story, so stay tuned for that. But Ellis is a 27:43 10K guy, and he is debuting in the marathon in Seville in 4 weeks, hoping to run around the 2:09 range. We talked about his build, all of his training leading up to that, the transition from being primarily a 1500 to 10K runner, now going up to the marathon, and much more. He's an awesome personality. This was a very fun episode. We will have him back after Seville, I promise you. So anyway, if you enjoyed the episode, please leave a review, drop a comment, share with a friend. We will catch you on 236. When we're running through Norton Commons or the Pewee Valley area in Louisville, Kentucky, it's pretty easy to spot Mason Construction Home. The attention to detail, the quality, the stunning design, you can't miss it. It stands out. We aren't just saying that either. Our own co-host Scotty trusted Mason Construction to build his forever home, and he and his family couldn't be happier. Don't tell Scotty this, but we're at his house a lot because we love the home. He's all right too, though. If you live in the Louisville or Southern Indiana area and are thinking about building your forever home or doing a remodel, there is nobody else to trust with this project than Mason Construction. The link to their website is in our show notes. Click on the request information option and start the conversation about what your forever home could look like. I was asking, something that like Nick Bester posted on his Instagram this week was like the Japanese 180 turns, or maybe it was a week or two ago, but it like blew up. And I'm curious, like if you had a 180 turn in a marathon, would you utilize that or no?
I did see that. No, probably not. I'm the sort of guy that would probably swing around whatever post there is at the turn. But no, I did
Yeah.
see that turn. I don't think that's my sort of style, to be honest. I'd be yeah, a little bit
Ellis,
more
let me ask you
acceleration.
this: how many seconds? How many seconds off your time would it have to take for you to do the Japanese 180 turn? Everyone's got a
It,
number
over the marathon.
over the marathon.
Um, I'd I'd do it for a minute. I'll do it for a minute.
Okay,
That's
pretty.
that's a lot.
Steep.
Yeah, minutes.
Yeah,
I mean,
Yeah.
for him, that could be the difference between like 208 and like 207. So like that's a huge difference for
that's
sure.
a huge difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. But all right, you want to dive into these rapids, Danny?
All you, Chris.
Let's hit them. All right. So we ask everyone this question as the first rapid fire question. What's your favorite flavor of ice cream?
Um, favorite flavor of ice cream. Um, probably gonna go boring. Just say just chocolate ice cream.
Nice.
That one,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
better than vanilla, you know.
yeah, absolutely. I feel like if anyone says that, you're like, oh,
Oh, we get
you know what to
we
expect.
get about half we get about half vanilla. So
People love
yeah.
vanilla. Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're looking at one of them right here.
brilliant,
Yeah.
brilliant.
Do you prefer texting or calling?
I'm more texting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Same.
yeah.
Are you someone that takes naps or no naps?
No naps typically. Yeah, I'm not
Wow.
someone that's ever really taken naps. I do sort of around like races and stuff. Like I find they're quite good on like a race day, especially like throughout a track season in like the summer when you've got a late race in the evening. I quite like taking a little hour nap around like sort of like the lunchtime of the race day. But no, in and around like training just
Yeah.
day to day, no, I don't typically nap. I try and get enough sleep at night that can try and like get me through. But that being said, marathon training has tested that for sure.
Yeah, I was gonna say I feel like a lot of marathoners like do take naps, but I guess it depends too if you have like kids and stuff a lot of the time. So
Yeah, yeah,
kind of plays into it.
100%. 100%.
Are you a morning person or a night owl?
Definitely night out sort of person. I struggle. I struggle in the mornings. I think if I was
No.
trying to manage and like juggle, like essentially like a full-time job, working like full-time hours, I'd really struggle to be an athlete right now. Those super early ones, I don't know how people do it. Credit to them. It's incredible.
No, this wasn't on my list, but I'm curious if there's like one person on your team that's going to be late to practice. Who's it going to be?
That'd be Scott Beatty.
Yeah.
For sure in our Macau team. Yeah, I mean, he's got the fastest 5K PB. He just like, he's ran 13:04, but he's a sort of guy that won't turn up to training on time. Never.
Yeah. That's I'm that guy in our group, unfortunately. So need to work on it.
Brilliant.
What's your most used emoji?
Right now, I mean, it's probably a laughing emoji. To be honest, quite light-hearted when it comes to messaging people. And yeah, I'd say it's probably the laughing emoji.
Nice. That says a lot about you. That's good. That's good. Who's your dream dinner guest, dead or alive?
Or for me, I'm a big fan of Post Malone. So it would probably be Post Malone. Yeah, I've been a massive fan since like sort of 2015, 2016. So yeah, I would love to sit down with him and have a chat.
Nice, dude. That's awesome. Have a cigarette and a Bud Light.
Yeah, literally. Literally.
What's your favorite TV show?
Oh gosh, in terms of series, what are they into? There was a British series that I absolutely loved called Misfits, which was very good. In terms of like more Netflix based, my favorite, I like Narcos, however you'd say it.
Oh yeah.
Very good series. And I love back in the day, Prison Break was my number one. Well,
That's a very popular one. Yeah.
oh really?
That's
Yeah, I love Prison Break.
Oh yeah.
It was great.
If you could be good at another sport besides running, what sport would it be?
It'd be football for sure, or soccer no, as it's known in the UK. Yeah.
Who's your team?
I support Birmingham City, so obviously got keen interest in America with Tom Brady being a minority owner, and then we are owned by Americans. So Tom Wagner, who owns Knighthead Capital, he owns the football club. Yeah, we've got strong links to America, but yeah, I've been like a massive football fan from literally birth, really. Massive into Birmingham City, and I played football myself up until the age of like 15, 16, to like a half decent level anyway, before going all in on running.
When is Birmingham City Premier League, or are they the league
No,
below?
we're one below. Yes, we're in the championship at the moment. But we've kind of got aspirations to get up there to the Premier League. I thought it might happen this season, but things have been a bit slow, to be honest, over the past couple of weeks. So I think we might have to wait at least another season. But yeah, I think we're showing signs of in the next couple of years, hopefully. But
Did the TV show Ted Lasso get much traction in the UK? Did you watch that?
oh yeah, it's literally where I'm living right now. That is literally like it's 10-minute drive. 10-minute drive from here is where it's filmed in Richmond. So I'm living in Teddington at the moment, and I'm like right there. So whenever I go into Richmond, yeah, you've got like the Richmond FC shop there, and they film and stuff there all the time. That you get like whenever they kind of go through the phases of the filming, you'll get a heads up to say that they're like sort of filming and have to close off the area and stuff. So yeah, I've seen that going on a bit. So but yeah, loads of traction. Like people in the UK like love it. I actually haven't watched it myself, which is a bit crazy. Like my physio always says to me like you need to watch Ted Lasso, like you'd absolutely love it. So it's on my watch list for sure.
Nice. Yeah, that's a must watch, man. It's like such a uplifting show for sure. Like you just
Yeah.
can't, you turn it off and you're like in a great mood always. So it's good stuff.
Perfect. Yeah. I need to give that a watch.
You just spoke of physio. What's your favorite post-run recovery? So like sauna, cold plunge, physio, recovery boots. What
Um,
do you like to do?
yeah, I would be more on the side of recovery boots, to be honest. I think it's just like a lot more chilled. You can kind of sit there just, in your own home
Yeah.
on the sofa and again, just watching anything that you want, just kind of chilling out whilst getting that recovery. So I feel like you can, yeah, a lot more chilled. I don't have to go through the effort of like kind of going to the gym or anything to find like the sauna
Yeah.
or have an ice bath. So yeah, I would say recovery boots for me just because lazy in that sense, I guess. Just sit on the sofa and not have
Yeah.
to do it.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. I think that going into the sauna or an ice bath post run is just like more suffering, and who wants to do that?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
100%, 100%. I know, I agree. I agree. The recovery boots are like somewhat relaxing. Yeah, the other couple of options are like they're kind of brutal, really.
Yeah. Last question. We ask everyone this. Why do you run?
To be honest, I'm very uber competitive. But I'd say like I'm uber competitive like against myself, kind of just to get better. Like I just want to see what's kind of possible. And as I've just got older, it's kind of like always been a question of like, oh, what could I run like before I finish? So it's always been like, yeah, just trying to better myself, really, just to be as fast as possible is my
Yeah.
reason.
Nice. That's a great answer. I think like you got to be competitive with yourself to be at the level you're at for sure. Like you got to
100%.
you have to have that mentality. So, yeah, makes
Definitely.
perfect sense.
Yeah, I have a question about that too. I saw one of your posts. You were talking about moving to Teddington for the lifestyle, and you were talking about training with the boys. And
Yeah.
I guess two questions. What's up with Teddington? Like, why is that the place to live? I've never been to the UK, so I don't know. And then tell me about training with the boys and how that pushes you.
Yeah, so Teddington, like where I'm based now, is I say it's a funny one. I mean, it's had so many like great athletes living in and around here for like many years. Like Jake Whiteman lived here for many years. He only moved away actually last year to be closer to his physio, I believe, up in like Manchester. And it's just a hot spot for athletes. I think the main reason is just because access to absolutely everything that you need as an athlete. So we have two unbelievable parks for running. So Bushy Park, which is like very well renowned for running, is like incredible, like super flat, and it's like 6 or 7 miles of like good running on like the outside. And then you've got Richmond Park, which is a little bit hillier but also like longer, which isn't too far away either. So I think you've got great access to that. You've got the track at St Mary's University, which is the university or like college as you guys would call it, that I went to myself. They've got like a great gym facilities, and they've kind of run our like England athletics program out of that. So we can kind of get access to our S&C coach and like just many other sort of like little bits and bobs of benefits that any sort of athlete would need. So yeah, it's good for that. And I mean, also I think just kind of having the people around the area is like a pulling factor. People will see and be like, oh, they live in that area, it must be good, or that group's based there, it must be good for training. I guess it's kind of similar in America, right? It's like people go to
Yeah.
Flagstaff for a training camp. Like us Brits will be like, oh, we'll go to Flagstaff for a training camp, but we go there because we've seen other people go there, Americans that will go and train there or wherever it be. I think that has a big drawing effect. And yeah, obviously having the team is like the biggest part for me. It's the reason I've improved massively over the past couple of years, especially. And to be honest, like I don't know where I'd be sort of without them. Like I do think it's the biggest part of any sort of like athlete's journey to kind of like improve, is just sort of having having like-minded individuals around you. They say that, don't they, about just sort of like general life, like kind of surround yourself with people that sort of better you. And I feel like I kind of have that with the team. And just the fact that we're all just like a bunch of mates, really, that are just in this team that are just wanting to get better in the sport and sort of help each other. So I think with everything that comes with training, you get all the added extras and stuff like the socializing and sort of like, well, the banter and everything that comes with it, of like just as a friendship, I guess. And yeah, just being with them sort of like day to day, it helps. Like training, I can't explain the difference when you're having to kind of train on your own. You having to just get out the door and go down to the track and do like a solo track session. That's like tough in itself. I think having people
Yeah.
there for the whole step, like not just like just the session, but like the warm up, the cool down, just to socialize is massive really for me, because I don't mind doing like a session on my own, but it's sort of the whole process, the warming up, the sort of like chatting to people. If you're having to do the whole thing on your own, it's very very boring, and it's easy to get in your own
Yeah.
head, and stuff with that. So yeah, we've got it good. We've got it good at the moment. Fortunate to find myself
Teddington
in
sounds
and
like the
around.
dream setup, man. So are the mates, are they all on the Hoka team, or are they like various teams throughout and you guys just jump in each other's workouts? Like, because Flagstaff is very loose. It doesn't matter. Like Rory's hopping in with JT on runs, and Bia and all these guys are kind of collaborating on their training. Is that what it's like in Teddington?
Yeah, I mean, for us, like mainly, obviously, I just train with the group just because we're on the same like schedule, and we're kind of different to most other like British like groups, or the way that like coaches have their weekly structure, I guess. So we do our sessions on like a Wednesday and a Saturday, whereas typically in the UK, it'll either be Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday sessions, or Tuesday, Friday sessions. So us going on a Wednesday, like I think people find kind of odd. So I think with sessions, we've kind of got each other. So obviously within the group, we've got, in terms of the guys' side, for me anyway, for training partners, we've got like Rory Leonard, who's a British 10K record holder. I've got Scott Beattie, who's a 13:04.5K guy. We've got Callum Elson, who's like unbelievable over the middle distance and adds like that extra speed to the group, but also super strong. And then we've got Ephraim Gide, who's the Irish 10K record holder as well. So I mean, we've got like, yeah, a super strong group. And we benefit from that, but outside of training, we kind of mix in with everyone really. So like Joe Wigfield, he lives literally just down the road from me, and he just joined the British record in Valencia last weekend, running 27:38. So I do a fair bit of easy running with like him. We've got other guys like Jack Rowe and some top guys around this area, to be honest. So for easy running, we link in with everyone. Sessions, it's mainly just the group.
Yeah. Is it so the group has, like you said, Callum's like primarily a miler, 1500 miler, but he's obviously proficient at the strength threshold type stuff. Do you guys on like a lot of workout and you're training for your first marathon, right? Do you
Yeah.
have a lot of days where you can like work out with the whole group, or are you guys doing like different workouts most of the time?
At the moment, we're all doing. At the moment, to be honest, we're kind of here, there, and everywhere. So we're not really sort of in and around each other at the moment, because there's just so much going on, and everyone's kind of got like different goals. And for me, especially, I'm kind of the only person doing a marathon, so I'll be the first marathon debut within our team. So for the past few months, I haven't had loads of help, but the boys will step in. Like Scott last week, I had quite a big session, and he stepped in for like the 10 by a K aspect of it before I had some like 400s and 200s after. So the boys will help where possible, and to be honest, like I have them for all my other sort of like easy runs. So I've always got someone around, and like I said before, it's mainly kind of having people around at the track for the session, sort of like the socializing aspect, rather than the actual session itself. I'm fine just doing it, cracking it out.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Nice. Are you a runner? Do you need running shoes, gear, apparel, more? If so, I got the scoop for you. Kencom's Running Store is the best place to buy any running supplies you need. Located in the St. Matthews area of Louisville, Kentucky, the friendly staff will take excellent care of you. If you are a newer runner and need help finding the right shoes, or you're looking to get plugged into the Louisville running community, this is where you need to start. If you don't live in Louisville, check out werunlou.com. We have a discount code and the link to the website in the show notes, and the shipping is free for purchases over $100. I promise you, Matt and team are the friendliest people you can meet. Don't hesitate. Get your running supplies at Kencom's Running Store and support an amazing local business. What I'm I was gonna ask this earlier, but I forgot. Where's the team name come from? It's Team Macau, right? Is there
Yeah.
like a story behind that?
Yeah, so basically the team kind of got together. So we were in South Africa, so in Potchefstroom, back in January of, I think it was Jan 24. And but at that point, it was just myself. I was just being coached by Andy, Rory Leonard. He was also just being coached by Andy. Scott, he was just being coached by Andy. And then we went out to South Africa and we linked in with Callum Elson and then another British athlete, Alex Bottrell. So we basically kind of formed the team whilst we were out there, really, because Callum was looking at it was where we all come together and were like, oh, maybe we should just start a team and just like be a team. So we then went off the back of that. Callum then came and joined Andy, then signed a pro deal with Hoka. So that kind of worked out. We set up what was essentially was a team without an actual like identity, and then we went back and looked at essentially just looked around the area we stayed in Potchefstroom, and we were living on a street called Macau Street. And then we called up our Airbnb hosts from the time and we're like, how do you kind of pronounce this? Because like people obviously call us like Makou and all sorts, but yeah, it's called Macau, and it's from Macau Street basically, which is where we stayed in Potchefstroom, in a place called Gallery Lounge, which was lovely. So it's kind of where it started, the roots. Yeah.
Wow.
I'm pretty sure Macau is like the Las Vegas of China.
It is.
I'm looking it up here on the map.
Yeah.
It's kind of a crazy name to have for a running team. It's pretty.
I think it's spelled differently, maybe, but I could be wrong.
No. It's Macau.
The team's different.
No. Macao. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Spelled differently.
It's pronounced the same, but yeah, not differently. Yeah, we did know
that's
that.
Right.
People did actually bring that up.
Yeah. So I was expecting like a crazy origin story, like The Hangover, like the boy script of.
I think some people do initially. Yeah. To be honest, with this sort of team that we've got, it wouldn't even surprise me. You know, it'd be pretty normal for this bunch to have come from the actual Macau place. Yeah, some crazy story.
It's so. I've seen other people training down there in South Africa. Why? Because a lot of people in Europe go to Classic E10.
Yeah.
So what's great about South Africa?
To be honest, like, well, one is like a super low cost of like living, so it's great when you're there. It's warm, so typically like for us, we went in January and we avoided the kind of like the bad weather of the UK, which helped massively, and it was just like for us. I mean, look, I probably wouldn't go back there again, really, unless it was like on a team's decision. Like it's not my sort of go-to. Like there's no real altitude benefits there. It's like super low. Also just too warm. Like, I hate training in the heat. Like the other guys like love it. I know a lot of people love training in like the heat and stuff, but it's like I just hate it. Honestly, I just feel a bit, like running's hard as it is. Like we don't need to make it more uncomfortable. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So yeah,
so
that's kind of where I sit with it. But they've got a good track, and I think it works well for middle distance athletes, is what I would say, than sort of distance guys, because there's not loads of places you can kind of go to run. But it's cool. Like it's also just a cool experience. Yeah.
Have I seen you guys at I think it's Font Romeu, and is that in France? Is that your guys' other altitude? Is that's your other training camp location?
Yeah, to be honest, so our main bases are, so Font Romeu is my favorite training camp place to go, really. Like to be honest, like kind of outside of Flagstaff anyway. I mean, Font Romeu is the one I've been there like 10 times on training camps. So I spent a hell of a lot of my life there. And up there's like amazing, but again, you have to sort of like time the year when you're going to go, to avoid sort of like the snow and the shit weather, really. But I mean, yeah, we've got that. We've got St. Moritz, which is in Switzerland, which again, really nice, but really expensive. One of the popular places at the moment is Sierra Nevada, but to be honest, like it doesn't look like my sort of living. I mean, it's just a bit. It looks a bit mental out there, honestly. I think it's like a prison for athletes. It's just not. There's not much going on. It looks like torture, honestly. Like I love this game, but there's only so much where like of living and breathing it I can do, you know, before it mentally sort of fries me. So yeah, out there looks a bit mad, but Sierra Nevada is another hot spot. But we love coming to Flagstaff, to be honest, and we're hopefully going to be there. I should be there throughout March, to be honest.
Oh, nice. Danny, have you seen the training camp in Sierra Nevada? What he's talking about, the prison?
No, I'm googling it right now.
Yeah, it's featured in.
Oh, it's like a big white building. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like a big white brutalist architecture concrete building. Yeah,
Yeah.
it looks like it belongs in Siberia, man. I mean, that does not look funny.
Literally, it's
If-
yeah, it's a weird one. I mean, like, you know, I think obviously Jakob, like, well, the Ingebrigtsens love it up there, and a lot of other top Europeans love it up there, like Andreas Almgren. He spends a lot of time up there, and I think, like I said before, I think people draw other people in to situations like that, and with training camps, like if people see people like Ingebrigtsen up there, then, you know, it's like, oh, maybe I should go and have a look. You know, it raises questions.
Yeah,
Which is why I think it's become
7,000 feet, 7,600 feet. I'm trying to think. What's Flagstaff, Chris?
I think
reference?
that's 8.
Near that.
I think it's
Okay.
8,000
Yeah,
feet
it's
pretty high up there.
Flagstaff, right? I think, yeah.
Yeah, it's quite high. Yeah, I mean, it looks brutal. So I know what Sierra Nevada is because I've watched Keeping Up with the Ingebrigtsens, Jakob's TV show,
That's
which is
the one,
like really interesting watch for sure. But yeah, they spend some time up there, and it looks like just totally boring. So
yeah, I don't think I'd bode very well up there, to be honest.
It's higher than St. Moritz though, so that's interesting.
really?
Yeah, St. Moritz is like 6,000 feet.
Oh, so
By the way, Ellis, are you in a miles or a km guy?
Both at the moment, actually. So since moving to the marathon, so I was always miles, like always been miles. And since moving
Really?
to sort of like the marathon training, I've like, well, my coach Andy, he's been setting me stuff in like Ks, and I've started to enjoy it actually. And I think come the marathon, I reckon I will actually have my watch in Ks. I don't know what it is. I feel like you can be a bit more consistent with the pace, and they come round a lot quicker. I know there's a hell of a lot more of them, but they seem to come round really quick. Whereas a mile seems to somewhat drag. So I'm almost transitioning. I think I'll always be easy running in miles, but the Ks are, they've made a move. Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like the UK is like 50-50 on that. We coach like over 100 people, and we have several in the UK, and half of them are miles and half 1 kilometers. So it's always interesting to hear what people think. So,
so I'm the same actually. I coach quite a few people in the UK at the moment, and I've got a complete split. If anything, I'd say there's probably more in kilometers at the moment, which I found quite interesting because, like I say, I think like generally the UK was almost known as just being like miles over Ks, but I think there might be a slight transition coming. I think with everything, you know, there's almost been a bit of a blend, hasn't there, within like worldwide like the running world, obviously with what we see with like YouTube and everything that goes on. I think when people see others using it, I think it has that like impact. It's that influence, I guess.
So last year I was looking at your World Athletics page, and you've raced everything from 1,500 to half marathon, and you had a breakthrough race in the 10K at the 10, right? You're in 2740s. Awesome race. What made you decide to do the marathon in 2026?
I think I was always going to transition to the marathon for this year anyway, because my end goal is LA, for sure, and I think it's always been kind of directed towards the marathon. And I think there's only so late you can leave it, you know, with the marathon. From what I understand, obviously this is me stepping into it now as essentially a whole new sport, which is what I found with the training. You know, it's another beast, but I think I knew in my head it's going to take time to get things right. So now is the right time for me to give myself at least 2 years of tinkering with everything, because there's so much more to think about with a marathon, right? Your fueling, your actual training, like the actual methods that you kind of look at, your pacing, the kind of experience of it as well, is that like I do have to just put myself out there and just like have a go. And I'll learn a lot from Seville, but I know it's going to take time to get 100% correct, which is what I think we're seeing at the moment with a lot of our British guys, with like Alex Yee's like incredible run, and Phil Sesman as well, like flying over the marathon. So I think I was always going to look to move up, but when I ran that time over the 10K, I was like, maybe we've still got a bit more to give over the shorter distance. But at the same time, I've sort of been speaking to like my coach and looking at sort of like the training I've done for this marathon. And I think no matter what happens in Seville, I'm in a much better place anyway from just the training that I've done. I think having Seville there is a great end goal, but I think having that as an end goal has allowed me to kind of do the best training that I've ever done in my life. And I feel the fittest I've ever been. So I think it's kind of opened my eyes to what my body's kind of capable of outside of the race, the training itself, if that makes sense. So I know there's, I'm sure there's plenty more to give over the shorter distances too, but it'll be interesting if I continue this sort of like training volume and just add that little quality or like specific work over the shorter distances, what could be possible there still.
Do you think that the training stimulus from the marathon build will result in better results in those shorter distances, or do you think it has the opposite effect?
I think it depends how you kind of look at it. I think long term, I think it might have the opposite effect. But I think in the short term, for me, it's going to play into my hands, and I think it will help the shorter distances because I've never done this sort of weekly like training volume on a consistent basis before. But I think it depends how many you go through, if and how quickly the turnaround is from block to block. I think there's only so many of these blocks I think you can kind of put together in a short space of time. And, I've not had to run that fast in training. So obviously I'll lose a little bit of that sort of speed. But I think in the short term, it's going to benefit the shorter distances. Long term, probably the opposite.
Yeah.
What's so based on the training, because Seville's coming up soon for sure.
4 weeks out. That's the same
4
weekend
weeks.
as my peak race, by the way.
Oh, is it wicked? What are you doing? Which race do you have?
We have two very similar time goals, I'm sure, but I'm going for a sub 240 marathon in Mesa, Arizona. So pretty fast course. Yeah.
What's the weather like in Arizona?
I think it's gonna be dry and cool. I think it's gonna be
that's good.
like pretty peak. Yeah. What's it looking like in Seville?
I think. I mean, I think.
And are you going for a sub 210? Have you publicized your goal?
No, I haven't. I mean, this is the thing with the marathon, right? I mean, like it's the first block I've ever done, the first marathon I've ever done. Andy's just been banging on at me at how like we can't set the actual goal until we get there. But I think obviously initially the reason I'm doing it is as well we have our European Championships this summer, and our standard is 209.30. So in my head it was to just get into a position where I could run that standard, and I think in my head right now it's kind of like probably looking at going at 209 sort of flat pace and seeing what sort of happens there. So yeah, as a debut, kind of put something on it in terms of like actual targets, because it would be nice to make a championship, like a major championship team this summer. Would have also been nice to run the marathon without having to worry about that. But at the same time, yeah, I'm gonna definitely shoot for that because I do think it's possible. Things have been going really well. And I think I think the weather and the course itself is just like it's set up perfectly to run fast. I mean, Spain typically is ridiculous, as you see in like Valencia.
Yeah.
So 209.30 is the standard. You're going for that. If you're a believer in the VDOT pace calculator converter, your 10K PR, which I believe is a 27:43. Yeah. That converts to a 207, man. So you got a couple minutes to play with there.
That's ideal. Look, it's a complete different ball game. That's the other thing with this marathon is that like I'm going in there treating it with like the utmost respect, I guess. just because
Yeah,
I
yeah,
know
for sure.
I know how it can kind of go wrong, having not even done one. You know, I'm not going in being like, oh, I should be comfortable. Well, hopefully I will be comfortable through 10K. Looking at the sort of like the time
Yeah.
in relation to your like PB, but it doesn't work like that. There's so many other things to think
Yeah.
about with like fueling and everything. But yeah, I'm feeling confident like about it. I'm going in there feeling like really good. Like I ran a half marathon as like a stimulus effort like three weeks ago, I think it was, and I ran 63:10 around like one of our sort of like parks in London, and I felt really good doing that, and fueling went really well. So training signs are definitely there, and I did like a really good long run yesterday. I had 24 miles. Basically I split 12 miles and 12 miles. I don't know if you guys work in miles or Ks or both, but I went
Miles.
like had 12 miles at like 5:30 and then 12 miles at 5:15. So I averaged I think I averaged 5:21 per mile for 24 miles yesterday. So I was like,
Nice.
yeah,
Dude.
it was a good run and it felt good. Like I needed that stimulus because I feel like the speed's there. I can run the pace of 209. There's no doubt about that. It's the conditioning towards the back end of the race, which I think I got from my long run yesterday. So things are looking good. But again, just going in with it with respect for the
Have
game.
you had a long run? Have you had a long run in your training where the wheels have kind of fallen off at the end, where you feel like, oh, okay, this is what the marathon's going to feel like? And if so, like, how do you get to that point? How do you simulate that?
Yeah, honestly. So so I've done 2:24. I think it was a 24 miler. It might have been a 23-mile run, but basically I just timed the run awfully, and I went out as it started to rain, and I had to run at like sort of like a steady pace. So I had to run 23 or 24 miles at 6-minute mile pace, so six flats, and
Yeah.
the weather was just terrible. It was like I was like really cold, and at about at like mile 20 was in just like my legs just were like almost falling off. I mean, it was sort of like within a week that was a high volume week anyway, so I was kind of tired going into it, but I experienced something that I hadn't experienced before then, which is why it was good that I did a good 24 mile yesterday, because it kind of gave me that confidence back and has almost allowed me to kind of forget about that
Yeah.
run, that I've kind of moved on within the block fitness wise.
Have you ever worn a running belt before but had a bad experience with it? You probably haven't tried the Endorphin belt yet. The Endorphin belt is a veteran founded performance gear brand created by former Army Rangers who were frustrated with gear that bounced or distracted them during training. Their zero bounce running belt is designed to move with you and has been tested from 5Ks all the way up to 100-mile ultras, carrying everything you need without getting in the way. I personally like this belt a lot because when I go on long runs and I'm putting all of my gels, my camera, my phone in my pockets, my shorts are bouncing up and down the entire long run. Not anymore with the Endorphin belt. I can put my camera to film content, my phone, all my gels in the belt, no bounce, doesn't bother me at all, whether I'm running 8-minute pace or 5:20 pace. Check them out at endorphinbelt.com. The link will be in the show notes. Yeah.
That's such a unique feeling in training. Go ahead, Chris. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, no, I like that you like highlighted both of those runs because I think like maybe for listeners it's important to know that you can like get huge training stimulus still running like above marathon pace and workouts. Like you like both of those runs were
100%.
kind of like steadier above marathon efforts for you. Like so it's not like you have to go out and run 15 to 20 miles at pace to validate your marathon
No,
pace on race day. You know, Ellis is running he's going to run way faster than 5:20 pace on his marathon, but yeah, went out there and still a huge training stimulus. That's going to benefit him a lot on race day going 15
100%.
or
I
20 seconds
think,
slower than marathon pace, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, that's where a lot of people do kind of get it wrong as well with the marathon. And something I've found about this block is that every single day I pretty much wake up and feel like a 6 out of 10. I never feel fresh when I'm going out the door for any sort of like run or session. I feel terrible most days, to be honest with you, but it's about like kind of getting it done and not being concerned about the pace anyway. And I've never had that sort of like mental block where like, oh, pace is an issue, or am I going to actually be able to do this? Because, come race day, you're always going to freshen up. You're always going to taper into it. And I think with the marathon, it's just all about turning up, ticking the boxes where you need to, And yeah, again, I've not really had to touch too much on my actual like marathon pace really. But I just still know and believe it's possible, with the work
Yeah.
we've done.
So when you look up Ellis Cross on Google, one of the main things that comes up is beating Mo Farah. It says like club runner beats Mo Farah at the Vitality 10K. And I'm sure, you got a lot of publicity for that, all of that. Are you like wanting to do something like so big, like in a race that like kind of trumps that news story? Because I feel like,
Yeah.
are you like looking to like do something in your career that is like outweighs that story, right? Is that kind of like a motivating factor for you? Because I'm sure like you had a great race there, right? But like I'm sure
Yeah.
like the end of your career, when you search your name on Google, you want to be like Ellis Cross, like makes the Olympic team for Great Britain. Like is there some motivation behind that?
100%.
Like
One
the
hundred
headline?
percent. No, yeah, 100%. It's a good question actually. Like I do see that as motivation to kind of beat that. Like that was an incredible time of my life. But I think with any sort of athlete, whenever they achieve something that in that moment feels great, you're always left wanting more, and you're always left chasing the next goal. So for me, anyway, since that day, obviously it was an incredible day, and everything that kind of came off the back of it. I think it's helped me to this point. Even I think I got noticed. I got the support again of Hoka. I could become a professional. It definitely had a positive knock on, but I would like to, chase the next goal. And it was always that in my head. It wasn't like, oh, amazing. Like I've just beaten the double Olympic champion. Let's put our feet up and then kind of like rest there. But yeah, for me, I want to go on to much bigger things. And I'm hoping now stepping into the marathon, I can be competitive over that distance. And yeah, we need to beat that. We need to move that headline to something else.
Yeah, love it, dude. So I mean, British marathoning's pretty good right now. Alex E just ran great. Sussman just ran well at Valencia as well, and
Yeah.
then Emil Karras. I mean, as Emil Karras, he's
Yeah,
he's a great runner. I think he got fourth at the Paris Olympics. So,
yeah, he
or was
did.
he fourth or fifth?
Yeah, he was fourth. Yeah, I
Uh,
know Emil fairly well. He came to he was at the same university or like college as me over
oh
here.
yeah,
So he lived in Teddington as well for those few years that he was studying.
yeah.
Which is
So
it's amazing.
in your head, do you see yourself like you said you're competitive, like you have a competitive mindset? Do you see yourself competing with like those guys? Like once you get the marathon really figured out, do you see yourself at the level of those guys?
Um, I'd like to think it's possible. I think those guys have kind of like set the standard for possibility of British marathon
Yeah.
runners, if you like. And I think they've definitely sort of like opened the door, and what they're doing is like incredible. And I think, to be honest, we've got like just an unbelievable crop of British athletes. At the minute we're looking at potentially having way more than 6 guys with the standard for the European Championships in
Yeah.
the summer. And I mean, like it's in an unbelievable spot. To be honest, I think I'm probably transitioning over to the marathon at a bad time because everyone in the marathon's just incredible at the moment. But I think, yeah, the times that they're running, it shows that it's kind of possible. So for me, I look at it as it's not impossible, but again, I've not done my first one yet, so it's hard to say what is possible. Do you know what I mean? But for me, yeah, like I say,
Yeah.
I want to be the best athlete that I can be. So who knows? Who knows what the future holds with it?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's kind of interesting. Like you look at those three guys that I mentioned, like I feel like Emil Karras is like people, see him as like a huge talent, a lot of potential. Alex E, again, huge talent. Obviously, they work very hard, but then like someone like Phil kind of had like a more like progressive career where he's like built up over time to where he's at now. So it's kind of, it's just interesting. Like some people just have that like long, slow grind of like each marathon they learn a bit, apply it, get a little better, but then you also have just like the superstars that are like Alex E's like, okay, like one marathon, like figured it out at London, like okay, now I'm gonna go run 206 at Valencia, so it's kind of people have different trajectories in their marathon career for sure.
100%, 100%. And I think it also works. Like some people do end up having like their incredible day on their first marathon, right? I'm sure that can happen
Yeah.
because you're kind of going into it you're stepping into the unknown where you don't know what to sort of expect, and it just kind of like happens where the stars align. And I'm sure then after that it could be difficult. So, hopefully that doesn't happen in Seville, unless I run like 202 or something stupid. Then I don't mind that being the fastest ever time.
Let's go.
But
you
yeah,
never know.
Yeah, you might just need to retire after that.
no, yeah,
Yeah.
I definitely know that's not possible. That's not possible for me right now.
Dude, Danny, we gotta have Ellis on after Seville, man. I want to hear all about the debut. I love hearing like about pros like debut marathons because it's like
Yeah.
it's just fun hearing like
Yeah.
their experience and like the new
Yeah,
event and stuff, so.
honestly, there's just like there's so much to think about. Like there actually is. Like my main concern I think is probably like fueling and like the amount I've seen of like my one worry is honestly like I see on elite tables. So obviously I'll have my drinks on a table and they will be mine like marked. Just people like taking other people's drinks, like, because if people up in front of you down the road are missing their drinks, then they'll just grab someone else's. And like the amount of people or the amount of times I've seen that happen, like it's kind of concerning really. And like yeah, so I'm just hoping that doesn't happen really. I think at the moment, like fitness is in a really, really good spot, but I'm worried about everything else that kind of comes with it and making sure that it's right. The fueling, the carb load, the actual fueling within the race, the strategy. It's because there's a lot more to think about. It's a technical distance.
Yeah, those fueling bottle stations seem kind of brutal. Rory came on the podcast a few weeks ago, Rory Linkletter, and he was talking about how crazy those bottle stations can get and how he's like yelled at people about taking his bottle before.
Well, he that's why he actually like relies on gels, like, and he uses the bottles as kind of like a bee, like he just sips on them, but like his like main carb sources. Yeah, because we had the guy that won Houston on recently, Zuhair. He ran 205, and he said at Chicago this past year, Jeffrey Cameron was like every bottle station for like the first half of the race would like grab his own bottle, but then like knock over Zuhair's as he was grabbing it every bottle station. And Zuhair didn't have any gels so he was like in it. He ended up having issues at the back half of the race. So
that is a concern.
You never know what can
because
happen.
you don't. I mean, people obviously fuel differently throughout a marathon. Like for me, I'm actually going to be like alternating, I think, between carb drink and gels. So like 5K, so it'll be every sort of like 10K, I'll do like a drink, but every like 10K, I'll also do gels. So it'll be sort of like 5K, I'll take a drink, 10K, I'll take a gel, 15K, I'll take a drink, 20K, and so on, basically. So just alternating between drink and gel, like mixing that up. But yeah, I'll carry an emergency gel in case because
what kind of
know.
gels are you using? What kind of drink mix?
Yeah, I've been fortunate this block to have the support of Morton, so it'll be a Morton. So I'll be having essentially I'll split. So across my bottles, I will be splitting a drink mix 160 of Morton into. So I'll put it initially into 400 ml of liquid. I know it's meant to be mixed with 500 ml, but I can't get down 250 ml at one time. I'm actually much better off in it in 200 ml stints. So then I'll just split that bottle, the 400 ml of the 160 drink mix, into 2 bottles. So I'll have 200 ml with a 160 in, and then so it's like 20. I think that's 20 grams. So my drinks will have 20 grams of carbs in. And then my gels, I'm having the gel 100, which is 25 grams of carbs. So I think it puts me, I'm on like 90, I'm taking like 90 grams of carbs an hour. That's sort of what I found to be working quite well.
It's dialed.
Yeah, you are dialed, man. So I was watching Phil Sussman's got that new YouTube channel, and I was watching his like nutrition pre-race, and he kind of does some like interesting, he has like just rice with like honey on it as dinner before the race, which I think is like kind of funny. But then I was like, that's kind of a interesting dinner, but I guess it makes sense, like carbs and just like, low risk, like for stomach issues. But in the morning he did like a Nomio shot. He did like some beet drink. Are you like planning on any like bicarb, Nomio, like any sort of like
No,
kind of interesting stuff before the race or no?
no, honestly, like those sorts of things have been. I must be one of the only like guys sort of in and around my level that just doesn't really get on with it, because everyone sort of like bangs on about how good and like, you know, how helpful that sort of thing is, like bicarb and Nomia. But for me, it doesn't. I don't know what it is, honestly. Like, I don't know what the actual science is behind this, but for me, I feel like one of my main sort of like powers within running, and one thing that I think massively helps me, is my understanding of like my own body and knowing when I can push and when I need to back off within like a race setting. So I feel like if I take something that is going to kind of change my sort of like lactate production, I don't know. I just don't think that sits with me too well. Like, I just I would rather know completely how my body is feeling, if that makes sense to you guys at all. But
Yeah.
just my natural sort of like
Yeah.
feeling. I think I'm pretty like tuned in to my body. You know, I've been doing it for so many years now. I'm at like the point of just knowing what my body can and can't take within races. And I think that when I take something like a bicarb, you know, I'm sure it's like incredible stuff, but I feel like it kind of messes with my, well, obviously it helps with reducing your lactate production, but I think for me it's like, yeah, I think I need that to know when to kind of like back off and when I can push myself. So yeah, that's my sort of
Yeah.
like thoughts and feelings on it.
That I really like that take.
Great take. Yeah.
Question on that is kind of related, but how much are you checking your heart rate, if ever, during a race?
During a race, and never. I'll never check
Yeah.
it during a race. During training,
What
I
about
use it
like,
a lot.
yeah, okay. So during an easy run or like a steady long run, or when are you checking it?
Yeah, I'll check it on. I'll check it, to be honest, like kind of most runs really, and most like sessions. I think sort of like
Mm.
easy runs. I think like looking at sort of like my heart rate, and again, I'm fortunate to have like the support of Coros at the moment, so I obviously have access to some pretty good equipment there. I do
Yeah.
kind of check it, and I think it can kind of like, I guess, confirm your fitness. You know, when I see what my sort of like heart rate's doing on an easy run, if it's like a lot lower, I know my fitness is in a great place. And during sessions, I know where it should be and can kind of run to that. So
Yeah.
I'm using it most
Yeah.
of the time. Like easy runs is like, you know, I'm not looking at it all the time, but I'll check it after my
Yeah.
run to see what sort of like the average is.
One of
Yeah.
our friends, Floberg, he was saying that there was this discussion online about checking your heart rate in a race, and his take was, when I check it and it's good, I like it. When it's not good, I don't like it. I'm
Yeah,
like, man, that's so true.
you know, that's honestly, that is spot on. That is spot on. If it's looking too high for me, I'll say it's faulty. There's a problem with it. There
Yeah.
must be. And if it's
Yeah,
too low, then I'm just like, I must just be in really good shape. Yeah.
so true.
Yeah, if I see my heart rate in like the 180s before like mile 8 of a marathon, like I don't want to know, because like I might just be like going through a moment or something, or like a slight incline, and like
100%.
it's just like there's no reason to panic in that situation, right?
100.
Like you can,
You know, like,
so
yeah, just like touching on that, to be honest, that is the other thing that I've kind of found with the marathon. To be honest, is that like I think I've got to be pretty flexible with like my feelings, like in the race, because I think when I
yeah,
fuel, when I take on like a drink mix or a gel, I typically don't feel amazing for like the next kilometer, whilst it feels like I'm
So
digesting
true.
it. So I'm just like, I know it's going to help me in the long run, like a little bit further down the line for the next like 2K further down the line. But I know initially I might not feel great, so I've kind of got in my head now for this marathon that like I need to be switched on to, if I don't feel great, you can always turn it around and you can start feeling good. You know, you go through patches, right? And there's a good chance that will happen quite a lot over 26.2 miles. So I think being flexible and like, I guess like pretty versatile around your feelings in the marathon is important, and not letting your head drop and be sort of like negative, because I know I just take a little bit of time to sort of digest my fueling as well, and I don't feel
yeah,
great whilst I'm doing that, but then it helps, of course.
It's like
yeah,
airplane turbulence. Like when you're on a
Yeah,
flight, you're going to St. Moritz or something, and you hit some turbulence, you're just like, all right, this is going to last a minute and then it's going to be over. I just need to get through it. It's the same thing.
Exactly
Same thing.
Yeah, exactly that. And that's the advice I give to like everyone, to be honest, in any sort of race setting is as soon as your head goes, like that's it then. Your race is done. If you allow that to happen. So you always got to have it in your head that you're gonna go through sort of like peaks and troughs, I guess, within that setting. So it's being mentally strong and coming through that and not allowing those sort of like those demons, if you like, in your head to be like, oh look, you're in trouble here. It's not going well. If that happens, it is game over. So you have to stay positive and you can kind of fight through it.
Yep, for sure. Danny's Zuhair had like a moment like that at Houston. Remember, he was talking about like he like late in the race, he was like had an oh my gosh moment, like things are about to go south, and then he just kind of let it ride for a mile, and then he closed great, won the race. So
yeah, he said it was a 3-minute stretch where after the fact, he was thinking there was a moment where his body was switching fuel from like glycogen stores to fat burning. And I think that's pretty interesting. I'd be curious if that was it or if it was something else. But basically, he said a 3-minute stretch, which is, oh, by the way, he's running, 450 pace or faster. And so that's, you know what I mean? That's like 3/4. That's a K. Like that's over a K. So I'm like, that's a long time to be feeling bad, 3 minutes.
Yeah.
I thought that was, so that kind of impressed me, actually, the fact that he said it lasted 3 minutes. I'm like, I mean, that's kind of impressive because usually people will give up a lot sooner than that.
Exactly. I think, that's probably what helped, I'm sure. Fighting through that. A lot of people would probably just back off and then wouldn't end up with the result. And then you're left asking yourself, aren't you, like, what if? And that's the last thing anyone wants at the end of a race. What if?
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
that's cool.
But Danny, anything else for Ellis, man, before we let him go?
Ellis, man, I got to come see you in Teddington. It sounds like it's a vibe.
Yeah,
it sounds like it's the place to be.
You should. It's great
for running,
honestly. Yeah, 100%. You'll love it. Bushy Park is incredible.
Ooh, if you go to Flagstaff, we're good friends with Rory Linkletter and Jacob Thompson, and they're all about like people joining them for training runs and workouts and stuff. So if you want that connection, let us know. We'd be happy to send you the phone numbers and stuff, man.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Let us know.
Let's do it because I should be there from sort of March the 2nd on until Sound the 10. I don't know if I'm going to race the 10 at the moment. It depends on how I recover from the race, obviously Seville, because it's like 6 weeks after. But it's an opportunity. It's like the best opportunity in a 10K to actually run a fast time, and we've got both European champs and Commonwealth champs this summer for us over here. So and at Commonwealth Games, there's no road, there's no marathon, so I would have to shoot for the 10K. So I need to run it again. The standard's 27:50.0. So I've run the standard in terms of the time, but I need to kind of do it again. And I have had a little conversation with Rory, because obviously Rory was in my race at the 10 at Sound last year. He came third in that race. We had a little chat afterwards, and he's obviously kicked on like incredibly. Like he's been amazing. Like again, he's someone that I kind of at the moment I've been like looking up to as like he's an incredible athlete that shows the possibilities in this game. So yeah, he's been amazing.
I think his ability to run the marathon at such a high level and then kick back down to the shorter distance races is like super impressive. Because we were just talking about this, like a lot of people think that training for the marathon kind of has that negative impact. You become slower and don't work on as much neuromuscular fast twitch stuff as you do when you're, say, 5K, 5,000 meter training. So, but Rory is just the example of like setting the opposite. So, hey, maybe that's you too. Maybe that's your future, Ellis. You can model your training 100%. After Rory.
No, 100%. That is honestly the way I would want to do it as well. Yeah, what he does there is incredible, because he did run. He was getting ready, I'm pretty sure, for a marathon right after. Was Boston around then, or?
Yeah, he ran Boston. Yeah.
Was that around like the block? He must have been like around doing like a marathon block. I'm pretty sure he was last year when he did
April 17th ish, and I think the Sound meet was like March 31st. Was I think?
Yeah.
Like so, yeah. Race. Yeah.
incredible. And he ran
Yeah.
really well there. He must have been 20, like sub 2750.
Yeah, he was. Yeah. And he crushed it at Boston. So it can be done.
We did.
All right. Episode 235, Ellis Cross. Ellis, we're going to have you on after Seville, man. I want to hear all about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we will. We'll
You've
chat
made plans
about
out
it.
of us for sure.
Because I don't
Hey,
know.
Ellis, where can people find you? Where can people find you on the internet, Ellis? Shout out your YouTube and everything.
So at the moment, you can find me on Instagram just as Ellis Cross. I think I'm just Ellis Cross _ on Instagram, and on YouTube at the moment we're under Team Makou. Spelled Makou. You can kind of look back at our sort of training. My half marathon effort YouTube video is up there at the moment as well. And
Nice.
we've kept it kind of low key, to be honest, with the YouTube and the marathon this time around, because it's my debut and we don't want to put too much pressure on it. And Andy, coach, was a bit like, let's not do loads around it in terms of like an actual series. But in the future, the plan is to kind of do a series, I'm sure, and we can kind of follow the whole build. And I think it would have been cool to do this time, but you know, Andy didn't want us to. He wanted to keep it kind of low key, this one, which I get, and that's kind of the way that we're going with it. So yeah,
I respect that.
Love it. All right, 235 Life in Sharp podcast. Catch you on 236. Peace.